Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you all today. We had over 100 people in the waiting room. I'm so proud that we have so many people on time and ready to go. So since there's so many of you here, we're going to kick things right off. I'm so excited to be with you here today. My name is Emily Mithner, and I am one of the co-founders of TravelCat. And I'm just curious, we always want to get people engaged in the chat. I would love to know if you're a newbie or you're a returner, because we've hosted so many virtual events at this point. I've actually lost count what number this is, but would love to kick off the chat. You can just type newbie or returner if this is your first time or you've come to a TravelCat event before. Would love to know. It's just a fun way to kick things off. So again, my name is Emily. I started TravelCat with my husband. We were inspired when we rescued a kitten on a whim, and I just turned around because that kitten, her name is Andy Furry. She's actually sleeping in the Meowable home right now. It's probably a little hard to tell, she's gray, but that's a picture of me the day that we found her. And we really, when we became cat people hard and fast, we felt like there was a real lack of high quality products for cats and cat people. And also, even more importantly, products and a company that was always going to be dedicated for cats now and forever. So that is a huge inspiration behind TravelCat, helping people go beyond the great indoors, like we like to say. So that's my super quick intro. I would love if everyone in the chat could introduce yourselves as well. We'd love to know your name, but of course your cat's names, because who doesn't love hearing hundreds of cats' names, where you're tuning in from. We purposely host this event on a Sunday at this time to grab as many time zones as possible. So I'm always curious, like maybe who stayed up the latest or gotten up the earliest. So location, and then also your Instagram. If you happen to have a cat Instagram, we've had many people at this point make connections with each other at our events and stay connected after events, through Instagram or even in-person meetups. So share your Instagram handle if you have one. Include that HTTP part if you're ever sharing a link, like your Instagram or your TikTok, just because that makes it easier for people to click. So take time to introduce yourself, and we encourage you to connect and share thoughts and ask questions in the chat, not just during our intros, but also during our breakout sessions as well. All right, so a little overview of how today's going to run. So of course, we're going to kick off with some exciting product launches and prizes. So if I could just remind my team member, Steph, if you could chat me in the WhatsApp group, our two first prize winners that I should be reading off, you can put them in the TravelCat WhatsApp group so I can read those. So we'll start with my intro, then we're going to go into clicker training with Marci, our certified cat behaviorist, and then we have Fenja, and Monty is here too. So she'll be sharing her story about how she got started, why she got started taking her cats out, and what her experience has been like. All right, and so just to kick off with some general tips and things that we think are really important. So I'm just curious also in the chat, why you're here. I think these are some of the main reasons that people want to be a travel cat, or why they want their cat to be a travel cat. So one is to provide enrichment, right? It's really important for cats to have stimulation and engagement every day. And so taking your cat safely outdoors is a really, really great way to do that. But also maybe you're here because you have some necessary travel coming up, maybe a move, or you're visiting someone where you need to bring your cat. And also there's emergencies, right? We actually have someone in the community here who had an experience where she had a fire in her building. And thanks to the backpack training that she had, and that her cat was used to the backpack, she was able to quickly get out of this like real actual fire situation more easily because her hands were free, and the cat also wasn't freaking out. So there's always natural disasters and emergency situations as well. And again, for whatever reason you're here, for whatever types of trips you want to do, whether it's simple trips around your block or on your balcony, or national park trips, we welcome you all. We encourage you all to be a part of this community. And the most important thing is to start with just talking about safety. So before you take your cat out for any reason, these are really important things that you should all consider. So one is to have your cat microchipped. That is done at the vet. That's an internal thing where if your cat gets found by somebody and brings them to a vet, the vet can scan that information and find you. Of course, but beyond that, having an ID tag with your pet's name and your contact, your address, vaccines, flea and tick medication, and also considering some sort of location GPS device, which is a little sneak peek or hint at one of our product announcements. But the main tip that I will just kick everyone off with is that when you're going out with your cat, no matter the setting, it's really, really important to be present. Cats are not dogs. It's not the same. And it's important as the guardian that you're really paying attention to the environment, the body language, so that you can best respond to anything that may or may not happen during an outing. But with that, very excited to welcome back Marci. She spoke at our Travel Cat Summit this past spring, and she's going to talk about how to use a clicker to backpack and harness train your cat. So with that, Marci, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Okay, great. I am so excited to be back here, and I am talking today about one of my favorite topics, clicker training. And specifically, we're going to be going over some of the basics of clicker training, just in case you're a total newbie. That's totally fine. And then I will be talking about backpacks and harnesses. So you're probably wondering maybe who I am. I am Marci, and I have a cat behavior consultation business called Feline Behavior Solutions. I've been doing that since 2014, and I help people with a ton of different behavior issues, including inter-cat relationships and house soiling and destructive and nuisance behaviors. But I also help people with their training. And clicker training can be used to help improve behavior issues that people are working on. And it's also a really great enrichment tool for cats. You know, so many of our cats are really, really bored at home, and clicker training can be just a really great way to engage your cat's brain because they are smart critters. So with that, let's get on to some basics. All right. Now, for those of you who don't know, and maybe aren't very familiar with clicker training, the click simply marks a desired behavior and tells the cat, good job, a reward is on its way. For a cat to connect a behavior with a reward, the reward needs to be consistent, first of all, and it needs to happen within like 1.3 seconds of the behavior. And it's really hard to do that with treats, because with treats, you have to like get your hand in your pocket and then get the treat out and then give it to your cat. And that can take, you know, upwards of 5 seconds. Plus, you don't have a marker for the behavior. Your cat doesn't know what it's getting a reward for. So in essence, the click becomes a bridge between a behavior and a reward. It's really important to understand that the click itself is not a command. It simply marks when a behavior happens. So don't use it as a command. So don't use the click sound to get your cat's attention, for example. Don't use it to get your cat to come over, because then it does become a command and it loses its utility for marking a variety of behaviors. So only use the click in response to a behavior that you want to reward. That's really, really important. Only use the click in response to a behavior you want to reward. All right, now what do you need to do this? Well, it's really easy. We got a couple of things you need. You need, first of all, a marker, and you need a reward. And by marker, I mean something that you can use, like this clicker, and Emily's been holding up a clicker too. This is one by Travel Cat. And I really like this clicker actually because the sound is nice, and it's not like a super heavy, abrasive, loud sound like a lot of box clickers are. It's got a very nice, mild sound. But you can also use a tongue click, like, or you can use a click pen if your cat is afraid of the clicker sound, or you can even use like a Snapple cap. You know how like when you press a Snapple cap, it makes a little doot doot sound. You can use that. So, and if you have a deaf cat, deaf cats can get in on this too. All you need is a small little flashlight that you can click on and off as a visual cue. So deaf cats can do this. vision impaired cats can do this. All you need is some sort of marker that your cat is going to pick up on. Now, the reward can also be a lot of different things. For the purposes of this talk, I'm going to say click and treat instead of marker and reward. I'm just going to assume that the cats that we're working with are food motivated. So cat treats are great, but a lot of cats aren't food motivated, and you can use anything that the cats like as a reward. So that can be praise. Good job, you're the best cat in the world, that type of thing, if your cat is into praise. It could be petting. I know this cat looks gigantic in this picture, but you can pet your cat if that is what your cat is into. And then in certain circumstances, you can even use play for what your cat gets as a reward. But for today, we're just going to focus on treats. All right, now the first step in clicker training is what's called loading or charging the clicker. And this simply teaches the cat that the click is a predictor of a treat. And this is classical conditioning. We're going to pair a reward with the click so that the cat is conditioned to expect a treat when they hear the click. So all you need to do is, it's really simple. And this is the only time you're going to be giving out free clicks. All right. Remember how I said you only want to use the clicker in response to something your cat does, a desired behavior? This is the only time that's going to be an exception to this rule. So you're going to make a click sound. And then as soon as your cat hears that click sound, you're going to give her a treat. And then you're going to repeat that lots of times. And then, yay, your cat is super smart. Your cat knows that that the click is a predictor of a treat. I usually recommend doing this over 3 sessions. And each session is going to be a series of 6 to 10 click treat combinations. So it's just going to be click treat. And then you wait for the cat to eat it, click treat. Then you wait for the cat to eat it, click treat. You're going to do that 6 to 10 times per session. And you might have one session in the morning, one session in the evening, and then the third session the next day. If you have multiple cats, you want to do those loading and charging sessions separate from each other so that they're not distracted by what's going on. All right, now, the next thing is marking good stuff that happens. And I like this to just get people in the habit of click rewarding good behaviors. And this is kind of the start of what we call operant conditioning, where the cat learns that if they do a particular thing, it's followed by a click and treat. So basically the cat goes, oh, I noticed that when I scratch the scratching post up here, I hear a click and get rewarded. So they learn, if I do this, then I get a treat. So you can use the click and reward when your cat uses a scratching post. You can use the click and reward when you call your cat and then your cat comes to you. You can click and reward that. And like I said, I work with a lot of behavior issues. And I do use clicker training for house soiling cases when cats are just learning to use the litter box or relearning to use the litter box. You don't need to do this if your cat already knows how to use the litter box. Please don't do that. And I don't use food rewards for this, for the litter box issues. And I definitely don't want to use the click treat if it's going to interrupt or disturb her from using the litter box. But this is one of those behavior related issues where I do use clicker training for. But regardless, be generous with your clicks and rewards. Your cat will get it the more you use it. Now, I often like to start out with target training in terms of when we're asking our cats to do stuff, using the scratching post or coming when called or, using the litter box. Those are kind of more passive things that your cat does. But now we're going to start asking our cat to do something. And target training is a great way to do that. I don't know if you can see me, but I have a target. It's an extendable target. It's just a stick with a little ball on the end. But you can make your own target. You can use a chopstick with a little puff ball on the end. You can use a straw. You can use a pencil with a soft eraser. You can even use your finger as a target. And we can shape desired behaviors by clicking and treating when the cat gets closer and closer and closer to what we want them to do. So remember, operant conditioning is all about, well, if I do this, then I get rewarded. So with the target, you want to click and treat when your cat touches her nose to the end of the target stick, or actually becomes close to it. Like if she just goes up and sniffs it, that's great. That's we're shaping a behavior that we want. So you can click and treat when she gets close. And then when she does start to touch her nose to the target, you can stop clicking and rewarding when she gets close, but only use the click and the treat when she does touch her nose to the target. Or you can actually have her paw the target. So if you're teaching her things like high fives or fist bumps or things like that, you can click and reward when she touches the target with her paw. The target is good because you can then use the target to guide your cat to do certain things. So if you want her to follow the target, you can just put the target a few inches away at first, and then maybe a foot away at first, and then maybe further and further and further, and click and reward each time she approaches the target. So you can guide your cat to spin in a circle. You can guide your cat to jump over an obstacle, and you can even guide your cat up onto like a cat tree or something like that. So the target is a really nice tool. And just a preview, we'll be revisiting this when we talk about backpack training. Now, what's next? Fun stuff. I just want you to have fun with clicker training. And you can do so many things. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of ways you can use clicker training, but you can also use clicker training for commands. You don't have to use a target, but you can use a target to help shape other commands. So like I mentioned before, doing high fives or spinning in a circle. This is as good as I could get for spinning in a circle with a cat picture. Or even flying. That is false. Cats do not fly, but they can jump through things like hoops or, oops, sorry. They can jump through things like hoops or even your arms. If you put your arms like that, you can get your cats to jump through your arms. And you can use a target to teach your cat to wave or stand up. You don't need a target to help your cat learn how to sit. Hold a treat above your cat's head. When she looks up at the treat, when she looks up, her butt is going to hit the floor. Right when she hits the floor, when the butt hits the floor, that's when you click and treat. All right. So lots of fun things you can teach your cats to do. Now, I have a short video. It's about 1.5 minutes long of my cat, Abby, doing a clicker training session. I just did this recording the other day, and it had been a little while since her session. So she was super excited. It's not her best performance ever, but I wanted to show you what that looks like. So, and there's a lot of treat eating in this video too, but it's really cute. Abby is super cute. So here we go. Hey, this is Abby. We're going to do a little session right here. She's a little bit excited, so she's probably going to throw up some commands before I give them to her, but let's see what we can do. Okay, Abby, sit. She totally misses this one. She's very excited. Abby, sit. I'm going to give her a treat for that. Sit. Another treat for that. I use both hand signals and verbal commands. So she saw me giving the high five cue with my hand. Spin next. Spin. No, she's doing so good. Okay, sit. And wave. Good job. Good job, Abby. All right, so you even saw I missed actually clicking on that last command, which was wave. Abby's 14 years old. I just taught her wave about 3 months ago. So, and she's not even, she looked like a food pig in this in this picture, but she's not the most food motivated cat in the world. So even if you have a cat who's not very food motivated or who is older, you can still clicker train your kitty. So we're going to move next into harness and leash training. And it's really important to just don't throw your harness onto your cat and expect her to not act like a total drama queen. It's really, really important to go slowly. It is so much easier to go slow and build up positive associations with good things over time, even if it takes a week or two. It's so much easier to do that than to start off with a negative experience by just throwing your cat into a harness and her being freaked out, and then having to rebuild positive associations from there. So you're going to pair the harness with good things, break putting the harness on into tiny, tiny baby steps. And you're going to keep your sessions short at first. So it's just going to be harness on, harness off. Good job. And then we're going to train the cat to accept a leash as well. Emily pointed out some really good safety tips at the beginning of this presentation. So please, please, please make sure your cat is safe and make sure your harness fits your cat well. It shouldn't be too loose, but it shouldn't be too tight. I like to be able to put 2 fingers underneath most parts of the harness. And please remember that no harness is escape proof. A lot of people feel secure because their cat is on a harness, but if your cat freaks out, they can get off of that harness. So it's really important to make sure that your cat feels as comfortable on the harness as possible. So go slowly. All right. Now, this is just an example of how you might train your cat to wear a harness. And harnesses and leashes are great for cats who really want to go outside. And I'm going to emphasize the word want to go outside, and for a safety measure for cats who use backpacks and strollers. I have 4 cats. 3 of them have absolutely no desire to go outside. And so I'm not going to put a harness on them and make them go outside. My one cat, Samantha, loves going outside. And so we go outside on a stroller and she just loves it. So we want to be very careful about who we're asking to go outside with us on a harness and leash. Remember, we want to go on baby steps. This is my baby steps picture. So when you see that, remember baby steps, baby steps. And so this example features a harness that has like a collar on it that you slip over the cat's head. So you might just start by having the harness on the ground and put treats on or near the harness for your cat to find. Then when you're doing a session and your cat is eating a treat out of the middle of the collar part of the harness, you can lift that collar up just a little bit while your kitty is eating her treat. And then you can slip that collar over the head and then remove it and give your cat a treat. So we're pairing good things with the smallest breakdown of parts for putting on the harness. So you're going to continue to give treats when putting the collar on and then wearing for a few more seconds and then taking it off. And you're going to work up to wearing that collar part for a few seconds. Then you're going to put that collar on and then loosely fasten the rest of the harness, take it off right away and give more treats. There's a lot of treats involved here, so maybe some low-cal treats would be a good option. But you want to work up to wearing the harness buckled for a few seconds, and then a bit longer and a bit longer and a bit longer. Work up to tightening the harness to where it's a good, safe fit. And then you're going to decrease the amount of treats as well. And then you're going to work up to giving only 1 treat for securing the harness on completely. So this is just an example of how you might harness train this cat. And then depending on what your harness looks like, you might go a slightly different route, but it's always going to be broken down into small steps paired with good things. The leash comes after that. I like to attach the leash to the harness and then put a treat just like a foot in front of the cat. And so the cat walks to the treat, and that's when you can apply just a little bit of attention to that leash so that they know, oh, okay, there's a little bit of restraint here. And you can even let that leash dangle a little bit so that there's a little bit of a weight for that leash. If your cat rolls on her back and tries to play with the leash, some cats do, try just taking that leash off, and then don't give her a treat, end the session right there. But then next time, give her a treat to eat while you're putting on the leash, and then move forward from there. Toss some treats in front of her, and she should get used to wearing the leash in that way. All right, we're going to move on to backpack training. And again, this is very similar to harness training. We're going to move in baby steps and pair the backpack with good things. Backpacks and carriers can be really useful for travel, in the car, to the vet's office, and for air travel. I think I saw an air travel carrier on the Travel Cat website, which was really cool. So that makes airport travel a little bit easier for kitties. The more comfortable your cat is in the backpack and the carrier, the better your travel experiences will be. And like with a harness, you don't want to just slap the harness on. You don't want to ever just force your cat into a new backpack or carrier. It's really important that you give her a choice. Otherwise, she will be scared of that backpack. Sometimes cats require time to make sure something is safe. They want to walk around things, test it out, smell it, go inside, make sure nothing moves. They want to build trust with that new object in their own time and own safe space. So if you just throw a cat in a backpack, again, you're going to be working from a place of a negative experience, trying to build up positive associations from there. So it's really important that you just go slow. This is an example of how you might backpack train. So first of all, I always recommend keeping your backpack or your carrier, whatever you're using, in your cat's environment. With a backpack, you're probably going to want to tip it on its side so it's easy to get into. And then keep all the openings completely open. Whatever can be opened, keep it open. Then you want to put a comfy blanket that already has your cat's scent on it in that backpack. And you can also spray it with a little bit of feel away spray. That is a synthetic pheromone that cats like. It's used to mark things. And you can also put treats in there or a favorite toy. And if you see your cat investigating the backpack, click and reward. This is an excellent opportunity to click and reward. If you see your cat looking at it, you can click and reward. If you see your cat go up and smell, click and reward. If you see your cat go in it partially, click and reward. And then you can use your target stick to lead your cat into the backpack, and you can click and reward, right? Or you can just throw treats in as a game. You can throw treats in the backpack, near it at first and then in it. And that can be a fun game for your cat to get into the backpack. Going outside in a backpack is very different from being in a backpack inside, particularly for cats who are mostly indoor cats. So you definitely want to work up to taking a cat outside. So when your cat is used to being in the backpack, just exploring it, you can close the flap for just a second or two, then open it back up again and click and reward. Then gradually spend more time in that closed backpack. Then acclimate your cat to being lifted off the ground and walking around your home. Then you can acclimate your cat to short trips outside. I always recommend the first few times you go out, wear the backpack on your front so that you can see how your cat is responding to being in the backpack. Her body language should be calm and curious, and calm and or curious, but definitely not scared. You want her to be confident and not insecure, and feeling very, very scared of what's going on. So it's really important that you are able to see what's happening in that backpack. And so wearing it on your front can help with that at least a few times. I know it looks silly, but it's a really good way to be able to pay attention to your cat's stress levels. So I hope that this answers some of your questions about carrier training. I don't know if we have time for a question or not, but it's been really lovely to see you. If you want to know more, you can always reach out to me at felinebehaviorsolutions.com or hit me up on my social channels at Feline Behavior Solutions.
Thank you so much, Marci. We don't have time for questions,
Okay.
but this is her username. DM her, reach out to her. And of course, we're about to have another great talk and then breakouts where folks can share questions and ask more questions about, again, general backpack and harness training. We have so many people with great tips and experiences. But thank you so much, Marci. We really appreciate your time and
Thank
work.
you, Emily.
Yeah, so helpful. We are super excited to welcome our next speaker, Fenja.
Thank you guys so much. I mean, it's such an honor being here because I am actually huge fans of your products. It's amazing. And I just want to start by saying that I am not paid to be here. I am not paid to say anything. This is just because I am such a huge fan. And I mean, Molly is sleeping in there, Monty is sleeping in there, and they're doing that all the time. And yeah, so when that's said, let's get started. Yeah, I started trying to train Monty and Molly to go on walks for about, I think, how many months is it ago? I think it's 4 months ago or 6 months ago. Yeah, about that. And I was very like, how do I do this? And yeah, I literally had no idea what I was doing. So actually, when I got the little harnesses home, I just tried putting them on Monty and Molly, and they were just fine with everything. They were just like, Molly was flopping a little bit around on her back and was like, what the heck are you doing? But other than that, they were fine. And then I tried to show them the backpacks, and I put a lot of catnips and treats in the backpack, and then they just jumped in the backpack and it was fine. And then I tried to take them on very like slow walks in the beginning, and it was just walks around the apartment because I just wanted them to like stay like in a comfort zone. Yeah, instead of like being in the real world like at first. So I took, like Marci was saying, I took very small steps in the beginning, and it turned out that they love it. So now we're going on adventures all the time, and they really enjoy it. And also Monty over here sleeping, he has diabetes. And what I can see when I take him out for a walk, and again, I just want to stretch that I am not paid to be here. This is a miracle, okay? When I measure his blood sugar when he has been on a walk, I can see that his blood sugar is lower and he needs less insulin. So this is I feel that it is like when I am walking in nature, I'm happy in nature, and it calms my nervous system. And I think it's the same with the cats when we have when they have learned to that the experience is great. So yeah, I mean it's amazing with Monty and Molly as well. So yeah, and they have their this is no matter where I'm placing these two, they will be in there. Monty, this is Monty's favorite snuggle cave. He will stay in there like all day long and only come out to snuggle a little bit or like play or eat, and then he will go back in that. He loves it. And Molly, recently, since we moved like a month ago, she started sleeping in her backpack. So now she will sleep in her backpack. And she prefers like sleeping in that like instead of sleeping in the bed. So yeah, I really love it. and they love it too. And I mean, I just want to show it in case you haven't been on the website, all of you, almost 200 people, look at the designs. Seriously, look at it. It's a little lumberjack. I mean, isn't it adorable? I really love it. Yeah, so they have so many cute designs, and I mean, sometimes people are asking, how big is Monty and how big is Molly? And I can say that Molly is a small and Monty is an extra small. So they're very small. But yeah, I feel so safe when they're having their little harnesses on, and I feel that everything is just like it's made with it's made from a like a person who knows all about cats, because it's safe to have on, and yeah, you know what I mean. It's really great. So yeah, I mean, I love it. I don't think there's maybe not much more to say, but I will show you Monty and Molly.
Yes, I undid the slide so we could see a bigger close-up of your cat.
Yeah.
Yeah!
Monty.
So cute, so cute. And Fenja, just do you want to just share a little bit more about like what got you started sharing your cats? I mean, you have a huge
Yeah.
account, and we have a lot of Instagram cat folks in the audience. But yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think we'd love to just close with just like the little history of your account and what got you started sharing your cuties.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it started all in 2013. 13, 14-ish, when I adopted Monty from a Danish. I'm from Denmark. When I adopted him from a Danish animal shelter, he was rescued with 19 other cats, and he was the last to get adopted because no one wanted to adopt him because they thought he was too ugly. So, and yeah, I don't understand that, because I think he's the most handsome boy in the world. Yeah, but then I share him among my friends on, well, I mean, I saw him on the internet, on the website, on the Cat Shelter's website, and I wanted to meet him, and I fell completely in love, and he fell in love with me, and I ended up adopted him. It was really nice. And then I shared him. I think a week or two passed, and I was like, so everything is great, and I wanted to share my new cat on my private Facebook among my friends. So I shared a picture of Monty, and yeah, just among my friends, and people went bananas. They were like, what in the world? What in the world is happening with your cat? Your cat looks so cute. It looks like your cat maybe has Down syndrome. And I was like, so there's no such thing as Down syndrome with cats, because Down syndrome is for human beings, but he definitely has a chromosome abnormality, the vet says. So people started sharing him, my friends, and apparently someone knew someone in USA, and then apparently it got shared to Bored Panda and Huffington Post. So suddenly I got emails from them writing me like, so I can see that your cat has some kind of chromosome abnormality. You want to tell me more about him and all that. And then it got in yeah, all over the internet, Monty, and people wanted to follow him. So I actually was recommended making a Facebook page for my cat, and at that time in 2014, it was weird. It still is weird, but I mean, it was so weird having a Facebook page with my cat. I mean, who wants to follow a Danish cat online? But I mean, of course, if people wanted pictures and videos of my cat, I will share it, because I'm obsessed with my cat and now my cats. So yeah, that's how it all started, and then it just grew, and then we have this now we have this community of happiness where everyone is just accepted as who they are, because there's room for everyone, no matter if you are feeling down, or you're feeling maybe a little different from the norm. I'm struggling myself with anxiety and OCD, and I have ADHD and a bunch of other stuff, and I'm sharing like my life with Monty and Molly, and I'm sharing also sometimes about what I am dealing with, because I want to stretch that it's completely normal, that we're all struggling with something. Maybe I have ADHD, and maybe someone can relate to that, or I have ADHD and someone can relate to that. So that's what I'm trying to do with the channels. Awesome. So yeah, and then Molly came along in 2018. Because a Danish follower, she's also from Denmark, of course, a Danish follower had rescued her, and there she is. She thought that as cute on cue, she thought that it looked like she has the same chromosome abnormality as Monty, and she does have that. So I was like, she's a complete foster fail, because I was like, okay, I will foster her to see if Monty and her will get along, and they get along so great that I had to adopt her. So yeah, she's a foster fail.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. If we could give a huge virtual round of applause for Fenja and Monty and Molly for being on cue and so cute, like exactly within frame. It's so impressive. And to Marci as well. All right. Amazing, guys.